amendments are very, very difficult to pass. They require a very high vote in the House and the Senate, and also they have to be ratified by the majority of the states. That is extremely difficult to accomplish. As such, people propose a variety of amendments which don't get passed, and they probably know ahead of time nothing's really going to happen except for it looks good to propose certain amendments. I always propose practical solutions, and which is why I brought up the concept of voiding congressional pensions if they run again. It's an easy to pass type of bill if it's a rider on a must-pass bill, and then you could work with your former caucus of like-minded individuals in the House of Representatives to push these through. I'm all for a variety of constitutional amendments, but they are, from a practical point of view, they're very, very difficult to pass, and as such, I would go for the practical solutions instead.
JD, thank you for the question. The answer is yes. That's why I co-sponsored one bill this year that called for a convention of the states dealing with the balanced budget amendment, and I fought on the floor for an additional 2. One argument that we heard against calling for a convention of the states was that it's a radical concept. It's never been done before. And they're right. The fact of the matter is that article was put into the Constitution as a means for the states to be able to step in when the federal government refuses to do so. In 1982, when it comes to a balanced budget amendment, Congress voted for the first time for a balanced budget amendment. It failed. At that time, we only had a $1 trillion debt. It came up again in 1995, and I applaud Bob Barr for voting for it, but it failed again. At that time, we only had a $5 trillion debt. As was pointed out earlier tonight, we now have over an $18 trillion debt. Or we're approaching that very rapidly. The fact of the matter is, the question shouldn't be whether we should do it. The question should be, if not now, when? And my answer is, now is the time for the states to put pressure on Congress. If they won't act, the states should. Thank you.
Barry Loudermilk.
The original Constitutional Convention in 1787, the founders gathered together and they realized they needed to provide a way to amend the Constitution. And as they were discussing how they were going to do that, they realized that Congress would be unlikely and probably would never pass any amendment that restricted their own power or their ability to spend money. History has proven that to be true of every amendment that's ever been passed in the Constitution. All the amendments restricted the power of the states. They never restrict the power of the government itself. The founders put in Article 5 the ability for the people to amend the Constitution by calling for a convention of the states to propose an amendment to the Constitution which it would follow the same process. I have co-sponsored legislation in the Georgia Senate that passed the House this year that would call for a convention of the states for a balanced budget amendment. This is the time that the founding fathers saw that we would need this, because I believe that if the Convention of the States gets close enough, as history has proven, it will force Congress to act and pass a balanced budget amendment.
Larry Rosinski.
We the people of the United States to form a more perfect union? So the answer is yes. We the people, you go with the will. It takes 34 to call a convention of states, 38 to pass an amendment. And let's be reminded, the Bill of Rights, the 10th Amendment, that the federal government should not exceed its authority. And what we have here today, we can clearly see, is exceeding its authority. Oh yes, if the will of the people call a convention of states, then so be it. That's what we need to do to rein in. And we'll have those articulated and have those bumpers that will not exceed what the Convention of States went in to do. And therefore, we protect our present Constitution of the United States of America.
Tricia Pridemore.
I only see danger in opening up the Constitution while Barack Obama is president. I also think that for all of us up here that believe in a constitutional amendment to balance the budget, we do that as Republicans by winning elections. First we win the argument, then we win the vote, then we win the elections. And I think that when you look at this year, it's critical that Republicans take the Senate, and in 2016, it's even more critical that we take back the White House.
Thank you. And now our candidates will have their 2 minutes for a closing statement. Someone drew your name out of a hat, and so this is the order. Barry Loudermilk.
You know, growing up here in Georgia, my parents instilled in me a certain set of values that we passed on to our children. Those values are put God first in everything you do, serve others before you serve yourself, and that standing up for what is right is not always easy, but it is always right. My dad, World War II veteran, served as a medic in D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge, and although he saw the worst of humanity, he never lost sight of the cause for which he was fighting, because he had his eyes upon his cause, not his circumstance. He believed in America. And he also passed along to me some advice. He said, son, never complain. Complaining never accomplishes anything. If there's something you don't like, you can do something to change your situation, or just accept it as inevitable and go on with life. In 2004, I took my father's advice, and I used my experience as a husband and a father, as a veteran, as an employee and an employer, and I took that experience to the State House, where I served in both the House and the Senate. During that time, I became known as one of the foremost conservative leaders in Georgia, because of my continual stance on those basic principles that founded this nation of faith, family, and freedom. Today I'm running for Congress, and because of my consistency and my commitment to the Constitution, I have been endorsed by most every major conservative organization in this nation. Concerned Women of America, Family Research Council, Restore Our Republic, Madison Project have all endorsed our campaign. As a veteran, knowing the need for a strong national defense, I've been endorsed by the National Defense PAC. Freedom Works named me one of the top 5 candidates in the nation, and most recently, Senate Conservatives Fund named me the #2 conservative candidate running for the House of Representatives in the entire nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we can take this nation back. We can restore America, but it's going to take us working together. We must give it back to give our children a future that is free, safe, and full of opportunity. But I can't do it alone. It's going to take us working together. Go to our website, standwithbarry.com, and I would love to have your vote on May the 20th.
Alan Levine.
I love this country. I'm honored to be an American citizen, and I would do whatever I can to make this country full of optimism and successful. I am the full employment candidate. I'm the one who has practical solutions to our problems. I don't talk about, I don't use conjecture and talk general ideas, which is why I've written nearly 200 articles on my website, alanlevineforcongress.com, outlining specific problems that we have and how to resolve them. I'm a self-employed businessman, have been employed for 30 years or so, and I am paid to fix problems, and I can fix these problems in Washington. So I would urge you, please visit the website, alanlevineforcongress.com, read the newspaper articles that have been written about me from everywhere in the country and on the planet, and you'll see that I'm a different kind of candidate. I'm here to fix our nation's problems, and I will. So please visit the website, Alan Levine for Congress, and I will bring back full employment for American workers. I will bring back so many jobs that there'll be newspapers full of help wanted ads, because employers cannot find people who will have a sense of optimism. As it was said on the news last week, as I mentioned earlier, 8 in 9 of 9 unemployed American workers will never find full employment again. It's a disgrace. We are the most powerful country in the world, and yet only 1 in 9 will ever find a full-time job. This is terrible. I know how to bring full employment to America, not just the 11th district, but I know how to do this for the entire country. In '96, we had the Olympics. Georgia spent $2 billion on promoting Atlanta. Because I'm an English American, I can focus the eyes of the entire Commonwealth on Georgia at no cost at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Lindsay.
Well, once again, I want to thank the Cobb County Republican Women for hosting this, and I want to thank all of our listeners, both in the audience here and at home, for listening in on this very important debate. I want to start off not so much talking about me, but talking about you and making sure that you go out and vote on May 20th. Last Saturday, something very impressive happened around the world. Unfortunately, it didn't get nearly the amount of press that it should have. Millions of Afghans went to the polls. They were threatened, They were told that they would be killed, they were told their families would be killed, they were told their children could be tortured if they went to the polls, but millions went to the polls. So if you're thinking about not going to the polls on May 20th, I want you to think about those Afghans who risked their lives to go to the polls to be part of a democratic process. Now, I'm Ed Lindsay, and I'm running for Congress. I've told you before, I'm a Georgia conservative who can get the job done. That's been my reputation in the Georgia House. That's what I've fought to do. What exactly does that mean in terms of how I interpret conservatism? I interpret conservatism to mean it must be a dynamic force that protects the future of our children, a dynamic force that maintains our society, that shining city on the hill, a dynamic force that takes on the problems of our present society and takes us to greater and new heights. I have worked hard for 10 years in the Georgia House, and I've succeeded on a lot of the tough issues that we now are going to have to also face in Congress. I've succeeded for the reasons that I told you, Chip, earlier about what I thought was so important in terms of a legislator. I've shown in the Georgia House that I have the patience to listen. That's what has led me to a lot of the bills that I've carried over the years, such as the human trafficking bill. I've shown that I have the strength to lead. That's what led me to fight for the charter school amendment. I've shown that I have the ability to negotiate without compromising my principles. That's how I was able to work for 5 years to balance our budget in tough times. And lastly, I've shown that I have the courage to stay the course when times get tough. My name is Ed Lindsay. I ask for your vote tonight.
Tricia Pridemore.
Thank you to the Cobb County Republican Women's Club. Thank you to our moderators, Wynn, everyone sitting here in the auditorium, and to you all at home who chose to inform yourself about the candidates in this race instead of watching the Braves home opener. It's been an honor to share my message and our campaign with you all this evening. When you look around, you'll see that there's a lot of races, and there's a lot of people that are vying for your attention that are running for office. I hope that 7 weeks from today, you'll make the decision to send a fresh perspective to Washington, D.C. That you'll make the decision to send somebody that is going to fight for you, who's a conservative, who understands the fact that, well, we are hard-pressed on every side, but we are not crushed. We are perplexed, but we're not in despair. See, America is so much bigger than any one president. Everything that is upon us are all things that we can overcome. And we can do it when we do it together, when we fight for what's right. My name is Tricia Pridemore, and I ask for your vote May the 20th. Please look for us on Facebook, on Twitter, and our website is pridemoreforcongress.com. Thank you so much for your attention. God bless you, and may God bless America.
Bob Barr.
I'd like to thank the Cobb County Republican Women's Club for providing this forum, hosting it this evening. And I want to thank Cobb County for making this facility available. Thank the audience for being here. Thank the viewing audience for watching, and thank the moderator and also those asking very insightful questions. My name is Bob Barr, and I was asked by President Ronald Reagan to serve as his and your United States Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. When Reagan nominated me as the U.S. Attorney, he didn't set me down and say, Bob, I want you to be a mamby-pamby U.S. Attorney. Just go down there, mark time, spend a few years down there, and then leave. No, he said, I want you to go down there and I want you to represent the people of the district, the Northern District of Georgia, to put the money launderers away, the drug traffickers away, the child pornographers away, the con artists away, and the corrupt politicians especially away, and that's what I did. When I was elected to serve as your representative from the 7th District, I did not hear from a single person that they wanted a member of Congress representing the 7th District who simply talked the talk, told us how conservative he was as many times as he could, and voted the right way, and then just came back home occasionally to let us know that he was still around. No, the people of the 7th District sent me to Washington 4 times to fight for them, to shrink the size, the scope, the cost, and the power of the federal government, and I was honored to help accomplish those tasks. I ask now for the people of the 11th District to send me to the Congress to finish the job that I started on your behalf back when I served in the 7th District. To know how to prioritize the issues, to know where to go to fight for these issues. Not to simply talk the talk, not to simply vote the vote, but to actually get things done to move our shared conservative agenda forward. That's what we need. We need that now more than ever. And I, Bob Barr, ask for your votes on May 20th, 2014 to do just that. Thank you.
Larry Rosinski.
Thank you to the Cobb County Republican Women's Club and to our moderators and to you at home. I thank you for the opportunity to consider me to serve again. Tested, trusted leadership. I pledge to you that I will take care of your interests and take care of the individual as well as the whole. Ladies and gentlemen, these are tough times that are ahead. It's going to have solid character and proven. And I will deliver that to you. Take a look at the many of the candidates and also go online to colonellarry.com. Much we could not cover here tonight. Our moderators couldn't do that because of the time constraints. Go and look at the detail. Find out where people have been. And ladies and gentlemen, where I've been and where I am, I pledge to you that in the future, I will be there for you, as I was for my mother, as I was for my grandchild born, and as I am as a Right to Life endorsed candidate. I believe that endorsements are the brick in the mortar that holds the person together. I do not need to seek that, I need to seek your vote. I believe that the endorsement is from you, and looking at my career and where I've been in service to the country, you know where I'm going. Choose a non-career politician. Take a new path. Let's have faith again. Let's restore the hope in America that we all yearn for. I do, my family does, and I'll bring it back home to you. colonellarry.com, May 20. Help is on the way.
Please give these Republican candidates for U.S. representatives. As a representative of the Cobb County Republican Women's Club, I would like to thank all the candidates for coming out this evening. And at this time, we will have Barbara Hickey come and make closing remarks.